are now walking in the Hurts world. You are now walking into Hurts world. Aye.
Discussion that we need to hear. Topics they be scared to touch. Parties say we do too much. Hurt, I think they scared of us. Meaning this is filled with hits. How you turned up like a jit. You are now in Hurts world. If you love her, had your chick. You are now in Hurts world.
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 And y'all know how we do. It's me, the Big Hurt, and you tuned in to Hurts World, man. Season 5. We took a break last week, so it's episode 4, maybe. I don't be look. I'm old sometimes. I be feeling old sometimes, and I be forgetting numbers. So I think it's 4 or 5. Y'all can go back and look at it and determine which one it is. But it's season 5. We did take a break. We did take a break last week. I was in Chicago, and if we're gonna be 100% honest, there was a lot of fun being had, and tourists and sightseeing and drinking, and I needed a break, so we took last week off. But we back. We got a new episode, a great topic to talk about, and it may ruffle a couple feathers. Some people may be mad. Some people may not. Some people may not care, but we're gonna see. But stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back with more Hurts World. Oh, before we go to break, shout out to DJ Zeta for coming through kicking it with us. So we'll be right back with more Hurts World. Welcome back to Hurts World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, The Big Hurt. And if she says I'm not, that hoe's a liar. So, I'm gonna shut up, man, and let my guests introduce themselves, and we're gonna get straight into our topic today. And our topic today is co-parents. So y'all co-parenting. So y'all come off mute. Tell the people who you are.
Okay, I'm Shantae from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I am a parent of 3. All of my children are 11 years apart, and I'm gonna just say that part. That's all. I'll save the rest for later. But I am a parent of 3, and all of them are 11 years apart. And yes, I have 3 baby daddies.
Wow. Okay.
I'm Tramel, born and raised out of Memphis, Tennessee. I have 2 children, 2 different fathers. However, one I was engaged to, so we'll get a little into that. But yeah, so I'm here.
Well, thank y'all so much for agreeing to come on and talk about y'all parenting or co-parenting stories. All right, so let's get straight into it. And if y'all have never listened to an episode of Hurts World, y'all know I'd be a little messy. So let's get straight into it. Shantae,
Yes.
11 years, like 11
Man,
years. Was that
listen.
intentional?
You know what? No.
Okay.
No.
Did you just...
No. I'm gonna be honest. And even because I know my children are gonna see this, the one that was intentional for me was my middle child. But my daughter, but I love them all. Obviously, they were intentional enough for God to give them to me, so I'm gonna say
Right.
that. But my first daughter, teenage pregnancy, and there was that. Then 11 years later, I said I wanted to have a child before I was 30. I was determined to have a child before I was 30, and my 29th birthday. Found out about my middle son, and then I was like, that was going to be the end of that. I was good. I had my boy and my girl. Keep in mind, I'm older. All right, so I was premenopausal according to my doctor, but I had a cyst on my ovary, and they were like, okay, you can take a hormone to get it to shrink it, or you can have a hysterectomy. I'm at a point in my career where I'm like, oh no, I don't have time for that. So let's just shrink it. I'm premenopausal. Everything's all good. keep in mind that is a hormone. It's been 11 years since I've had since I've had a child. It was like, okay, I know I'm not having any more children. Took the hormone in December. By June, I was pregnant. We never discussed anything about what the other effects of what a hormone actually is. But on the upside, my cyst did shrink, but I also had a baby.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there was that. And so at 41, I gave birth to my son.
It's ironic that like they 11 years apart. They exactly 11 years apart each one.
All of them are 11 years apart. So
Wow.
everybody had their turn to be the baby and to, have that baby love poured into them.
T.
Yo,
I don't know. I don't know how you gonna follow that one, but
I don't know either.
You don't want to.
Listen, but I totally understand what you mean about you know, pregnancies not necessarily being intentional.
Mhm.
Because we as women don't often speak that truth.
Mhm.
So I respect that so much. But I have a son and a daughter. My son is 14. My daughter just turned 8. Um, and to be honest, my son was kind of playing. Okay, so here's the story with him. Um, I had a miscarriage May of 2008 and June. No, August of 2008. I found out I was pregnant again with my son.
Mm.
So I think that was God's way of bringing him here. His dad and I kind of, we were kind of like high school sweethearts. We met each other as teenagers. We were friends. That really had no intentions of being together. Got together, was together for years, on and off for about 10 years. Um, I got pregnant with my son. Again, I can't really say it wasn't intentional. We kind of both knew what was going on. Um, had him, but that relationship didn't last. Met my daughter's father shortly after that breakup. We were together about 4 years. He's the one that I was engaged to, but shortly after having my daughter, that relationship fizzled down the drain, let's say. Um, so my kids are 6.5 years apart. So, you know, but I guess they both had their fair share of being a baby. But my son, he totally cried when he found out he was having a sister. And I mean, boo-hooed. He wanted a brother so bad. But
Ah.
he also has a sister by his dad. So both of their dads have other children. And it's funny that my son has a sister and my daughter has a brother. So neither of them have like the same sibling. And they both want it. She wants a sister and he wants a brother. But they're not gonna get one from me. So there's that.
I know that's right.
um, well, if y'all have never heard the story of how I became a parent, it's nothing spectacular. Um, if we being 100% honest, I just feel like God was laughing at my ass. Um, my oldest daughter's mom, we were together. Um, we had talked about being together and getting married and doing all this stuff. Um, and we had got into it about something. I can't remember what we were arguing about, but we were arguing. And the last thing I remember saying to her was, "That's why I hope your ass pregnant." And
Power of the
two
tongue.
hours two
Right.
hours later, I get a text message that says, "For your information, I am." and
Boop.
I was like, shit. I so that's the oldest. Um, my son, I've been in his life since he's like 3 months old. So I co-parent with my ex-wife with him, and then of course, parenting my second oldest and my youngest daughter with my girlfriend. So that's how I get to become a parent. But that first one was like, yeah, I'm gonna show your ass. I bet you won't say shit like that no more. And I haven't ever. So the power of the tongue is real. Like if y'all don't believe it,
Yes.
I
Yep.
got a kid out of it. So let's go here. The so what is the co-parenting like? Um, and should I say I know you have three.
Mhm. Let me say this
I
as well. I do. I have three, and I'm just going to assume I'm older than the both of you. Um.
not too much maybe.
Okay. Well, to me, I honestly now with co-parenting, I because I had my children so far apart, and the standard, the our society, I mean, the whole thing was just different each with each of them. So as a teenager with my oldest, who is 26 by the way, and who has her own daughter now, I mean, I was a teenager, so it was not necessarily us co-parenting because we had our parents right there
Mm-hmm.
standing in the gap of everything. um so, and then with my middle son, okay, I know now, I know better now, and it's like, okay, I'm older, so it was he and I, and so that's where I kind of knew what the dynamic, what we had to do, what we how we had to communicate once our relationship fizzled out. And then
Right.
with my youngest son, my last son, my last child, by the way. um I'm much older now, and he and I were in a relationship. I mean, so was my older son's father. um and we're older, we're not, but to navigate that, those were, I'm telling you this, it with each of them, it was totally different because the environment was different, because the circumstance was so different, and it definitely has to do with age.
Right. So that brings me to my question. So what is it like? Because we all hear the stories about, oh, my baby daddy ain't this, or my baby mama ain't that, or I love my baby daddy, or I love my baby mama. Like we get
Mhm.
along great. So what are the different dynamics like? Um, you know, with the we'll start with the youngest and kind of just work our way.
With the youngest, let me start first. I do not like the term baby mama or baby daddy.
I don't
um
either. I hate
um
them.
it's like, and especially because the connotation that goes with it now. um when I was younger, oh, that's my baby I mean, it was more of a, that was a young thing to me. It wasn't a problem for me to say, oh, that's my baby daddy. But now that I'm 45, I'm sorry, I can't introduce my son's father, oh, that's my baby. That doesn't even, yeah. Anyway, and plus, I'm a communications, I come from a communications background. You're already, you're still holding on to whatever that bond is. And so when anybody says my baby, they, oh, or either just tries to, um because that phrase kind of makes it derogatory against motherhood or fatherhood itself, because that's
Right.
just, being a mother or a father is not just something to me, that sounds like you're trying to downgrade who that person is to you, as opposed to who that person really is to their child. You get what I'm saying? That's,
Hmm.
he's not my anything, he's my co-parent, but he's Hendrix's father. you know I'm
Right.
not just his baby mama, I'm Hendrix's mother. Put some respect on my child. You might not have to like me, but he is my co-parent. I am, he's my co-parent and I'm his co-parent. If we're going to have any of that connection, if you're going to try and put something with me, I always think about it, as far as like, if what an obituary or a graduation announcement or a birthday invitation. You don't see on there Shantae's baby daddy and Henry's baby mama presents Hendrix. You
Right.
see, you say the parents of Hendrix, are inviting you to his birthday party, right?
Right.
Listen to how that sounds. As a community, though, that's what we do to each other to degrade each other. That's the way I honestly look at that phrase now. And that's older me. 19-year-old me, it didn't matter because it was a song that justified it. That's just my baby daddy. It was cool. Now, not so much. So that's the reason I don't like that term. But as far as you said, the question was about co-parenting. Sorry, I got off
Mm-hmm.
on the tangent.
You
You
good?
want to know what the difference is for
Yeah.
me?
Mm-hmm.
Co-parenting is exactly what it is. I think, and I was just thinking about that on the ride here. We have to look at each other as co-parents. We're still, as a society and as a community, we look at each other as each other's ex, and that just deciding to, and we're raising this child together. We don't Co-parenting is still very it's a partnership, regardless if we want to or not. It's a partnership. We have to respect each other in that partnership because that child's parent. I don't want anything to happen to my child's father, because if that happens, then that means that I have to I have to guide my son through that pain. I'm the first person that's going to do that, not his girlfriend, not his mother, not anybody, because he lost his father. I wouldn't want him to have the same for me. So we have to establish a co-parenting. We have to have that partnership. We have to look at each other as co-parents. And I don't and that's where I am with that, because indeed he is my ex, and those are traumas that come from that. We're still healing from what we did to each other individually, but going through that healing, we have to have a new respect for each other as our child's parent. So
Very
that's
well
what it is
said.
for me. We have it's a newfound partnership.
What about you, T?
So, basically, kind of piggyback off what Miss Shantae said here. Um, it's about having a level of balance. One of the things that I wanted to always factor in is the well-being of our child.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was a situation that I didn't necessarily agree with, it's about, okay, how will this affect my child? At the end of the day, again, you may not like me, I may not like you, but how does that affect our child?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for me, of course, dealing with two different personalities, kind of, 6 years apart, and one I've had a little bit, the history has been different. So again, my backstory, my son's father, we were friends first. And so we had situations where I literally thought like we would never be where we are today. Especially when, he started dating a young lady and she was being super disrespectful. And so trying to navigate that, and let him know like, hey, I'm not your enemy here, but I need you to fix that. Because at the end of the day, you have to deal with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he went on to have a child with this person. But by that time, the respect between her and I had been established because she understood that I don't want him. I don't want him.
Mm-hmm.
We have a son, So once that was fixed, I think we were able to manage to rekindle our friendship. Now, granted, I did have to take some steps because I neither of my kids' fathers are on child support. I don't get any child support payments.
Mm-hmm.
But when I call and say, hey, my children need, it's never a situation where I'm having to constantly beg or run you down, or I've never been in that situation. So, however, with my daughter's father, it's a little bit different because he unfortunately is the type, I kind of have to be cut and dry with him because he feels like if I open any doors, that's his way in. And it's like, no, we got a daughter and that's my focus over here.
Mm-hmm.
There's no us we, none of that. Like,
Right.
so I kind of have to deal with them differently, but they both understand, that, and they both tell me, you're a great mother. And I don't use the term baby mama, and I dare them to call me, I don't use baby daddy, and I dare them to call me a baby mama.
Oh.
I say my kids' father, my kids' dad, and then I don't even say that, I go as far, I'm not a single mother, I'm a single woman with children because, my kids' father, they help. So, I can't say, people say all the time, like I had a question from this guy. He was like, I made a comment about me going out of town, and I was like, man, I just hope that my kids can get to school on time. They was like, why? Because the daddy ain't shit. And I was like, no, I wouldn't dare say
Oh,
that.
wow.
I wouldn't dare. He's just not gonna make sure they're there on time like I would, but they're gonna get to school. It's just a dad. But I wouldn't dare say my kids, either of my kids' dads ain't shit. They're doing what they can. Now, their levels, each of them have different levels in which they handle business, but I have to understand that they're both different. And I have to, being that I understand their differences, I know how to handle each situation.
Yeah.
For it to be effective, to say the least.
Baby dad, I'm child father number 2 want that old thing back.
It'll
We gonna go
never
to break.
happen.
We going to break, man. We are talking co-parenting today on Herc's World. Y'all know I'm a little saucy sometimes, and my co-parenting is it need a little help. But we're gonna talk about that when we get back. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Herc's World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, Herc. And if she says I'm not, oh Lord. I guess every time I think I really enjoy saying it.
You look like
it sounds like you
I do. Like season 5, I really enjoy saying it. I've been saying it since like season 2, but season 5 I really enjoy it. So she should stop
said it
lying.
with your chest. I like that.
right.
So we're talking co-parents today on Herc's World, and I'm joined by Shantae and Tramil. And we're just talking co-parenting. Both ladies, kind of gave you their backstories, a little bit of their backstories about their children's fathers. Y'all, as I was listening to y'all talk, something kind of stuck out to me. I was having a conversation with a group of people, and I really love the fact that y'all both don't like the term baby mama, baby daddy.
Loathe it.
With the exception of the Fantasia song, you know, nowadays it's like some women, not all, but some women are kind of just like they cool with that title. They don't want nothing else. They just want to kid out the situation. Then they want to play the whole I got it out the mud by myself. Me, my son is my king, or it's me and my baby. And I'm just like, bro, like, why you want to struggle? Why is the goal to have a kid? Why is the goal not to build a family, build a relationship with your children's father, or your mother, or the mother of your child, and then y'all build black love and build a strong community and build a family. Like, I'm not saying that people don't do it, but to me, it's kind of just like being, quote unquote, baby mama, is a badge of honor now. So I really appreciate the fact that both of y'all dislike that word, because that just shows that there are women out here that are like aspiring to be more than just that. So co-parenting for me, it's been a struggle. So my oldest daughter's 15. If we just gonna be 100% honest, man, there was a time for about 9 years there was no contact. no text messaging, no Facebook messaging, no smoke signals. Like like I knew, like we knew there was a kid out there that looked just like me. Y'all see the picture like that. If I tried to deny that, well, they probably gonna, like,
Yeah, they're gonna
oh,
lock you
okay,
under the jail.
yeah, they like, oh, okay, you alive for real. But there was a time where we had no contact. Um, and then, kind of like when we kind of rekindled or got back into it, I kind of went into the whole concept like, okay, like we got to be best friends, we got to be buddy buddy, we got to just, we got to be on the same page about everything. And what I've learned is kind of like, hey, we're two different people. Like she parents a whole lot different than I do. I'm more laid back than she is. She's more like, hey, you got to do this, this, and this, and I'm just kind of like, hey, get it done before you go to bed, and I'm cool. Um, so like there's a different set of I want to say like respectable ways at my house, and there's a different respect. There's a different set when she's at home. Um, but I've learned to kind of just say, okay, you know what? At the end of the day, we got this child together. We have to find a way to make her a productive adult. At the end of the day, we ain't got to be best friends. We ain't got to go out for drinks, every other weekend or something like that. We ain't got to be like I said, best friends. But what I've learned with my oldest daughter's mother is um, the respect factor. With my son's mom, we just ain't there yet. Like we just, and if we being honest, I don't think we ever will be. Like she just, it's a lot of hurt, it's a lot of trauma, and it's just like, ma'am, if you want to struggle, go ahead. Like you want to say you got it out the mud, fine. Like if that's the story you want to tell, I quit.
So I guess my thing with it, just because, coming from, because you guys were together for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So coming from two long-term relationships with children, there will be some trauma there. But I think the first thing that has to be recognized is that not all that trauma is necessarily from the relationship. And so you got to realize, like, what about you caused some rift in the relationship? You know what I mean? So, like, as the woman, we always like to blame the men a lot of the times for wrongdoings or how things go left. And, there may be some truth to that, but there are some things that, we as women have to improve on and have to do in order to make it work. But then too, again, it kind of goes back to just recognizing the importance of the relationship. Like and this is kind of off subject, but kind of on subject. I'll never tell you like, did I foresee myself being a mother of two with two different fathers? Absolutely not. Is that something I wanted for my future? Absolutely not. But it happened. So those are the cards that I was dealt. So I had to kind of handle them with grace.
Yeah.
And really figure out like, okay, do I want to be that typical statistic? Never. So, it's just and that's one of the reasons why I chose not to go the child support route. I could have easily gone that route. And I think that both of the relationships with my kids' father might have still been the same. I don't really know, but I just feel like why continue to put black men in the system, and especially if you got fathers that are trying, like, and that's another thing. You got some women that have fathers that are really out here trying, and they're making it very, very difficult for them. And that's not something that I wanted, because I know that my children, they don't just need me, they need both of their parents, whether we're in the household or not. They still need that presence. So
I agree with
it's just a matter of really understanding, like, it goes back to what's going to be most beneficial for your child.
May I interject on that as well?
Mhm.
We have like I said, that's why I was saying that it's a partnership between the two. We have to look at each other now as partners, although we were exes. That we they know that we're exes, and there's some trauma that came from one person to the other. Um, that goes back to my point of we may not have intentionally had our children, but they intentionally came to us for a reason. And I think that that's one of with especially when it comes to my children's father, or either the relationships that we had. I wouldn't, if they weren't here, I don't think I could be able to forgive or navigate things with them if it wasn't for my children being here. Because I would have been said,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? But I have a son, um,
Right.
sons, and I know it's one thing, with fathers and their sons, but I don't want my son to see their mother um upset with another black man, or being traumatized in that way, and they're not. It's one thing to not to. I don't want them to be like, well, my mama did it by herself, and that's who they go look
Mm-hmm.
for. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now they going and
Right.
looking for Harriet Tubman in 2029. I'm not that woman, and I want them to be able to see that they can actually be a stand-up black man, or although me and their father's relationship didn't work out, this is the way that you do it.
Mm-hmm.
That and so it goes to and that goes to your point of not necessarily putting them on child support, because it's not like you couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't For me, I didn't want my son to see, I didn't want my son to view me as a person that put the system in our business. I don't want my I wouldn't want that on him. I wouldn't want somebody to do that, especially like you said, if we're trying to come to some conclusion, if we're trying to actually raise our son together. We don't again we
Mm-hmm.
like don't have to be together. Um, but we do want to raise our children. I don't think when it comes to co-parenting, especially when it comes to um black parents co-parenting, we don't get enough credit in that area. Is actually we're still, how they say, the downfall of the black family. I really think that at our core we still want that there.
Yep.
I don't think
Agreed.
we don't. I mean, I don't want my son not to know his. What? Forget your daddy. He ain't nothing. He ain't shit. So fuck him. You know, because that's what I
I
was
agree.
told for a lot. Girl, I wouldn't deal with that from him. Yeah, I personally, Shantae, would not deal with that from him. But that's Farron's father. You know, that's
Mm-hmm.
where grace comes in. That's where when you're saying I do give grace, I have to think about that. And again, like I said, that's what I'm saying. If it wasn't for my children, yeah, it would have been F him. I don't even not forget him. Yep, he can go on. I don't give a
Right.
by a bus. But I don't want Farron's father to be ran over by a bus. Shantae would probably want her ex ran over by a bus. You know what I mean? If it's Shantae, but I do have to think of my children. So,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
in a sense, they saved me and they saved their fathers.
And
Because you have to think about them. Although you do know who that person is and how they can be, but we
mm-hmm.
have a child that we don't know what our child is going to grow up to be. We don't know if our child is going to that's where they need to reach out to, and that goes for not only their fathers but their families. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
it's not just them. You know, my son has a grandmother that he loves. My son has other siblings that he loves. Now, if I was to say, forget your daddy, do you know that that breaks his whole connection off with his family? If I
Yep.
was to say, as his mother,
Yep.
it's not
Yep.
just, and it's not just him. There's a
Yeah.
significant part of his family. And I've also, there was a comment there was a post about child support, about something like that. And I said it really goes beyond child support. I'm like, why doesn't the government allow not just DNA testing for paternity, but DNA testing for all of these diseases that or all of these things that all of these traits that we carry as African American, as African American people. We don't know what our child will end up having. That blood, that type of DNA needs to be on file for those purposes as well. Like it goes beyond just child support and what the government
Yeah.
what the government is implementing. Like on New Jack City, it's bigger than Nino Brown. It's bigger than just what's in front of us. you know? So we as a community, we as family, we as co-parents, we have to think about those things too, because I really think with the way that our society's going, we're going to have to dig back into ourselves and into our community. And if we don't have those types of resources, and all we have on file is where, Junebug Brown paid $250 a month, you know, what does that leave our children?
Right.
And and I'm sorry, to kind of go back to that with the child support, I personally, no amount of money will
Mm-hmm.
ever replace the presence of a father.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they did want to be a part of their lives and they did not support financially,
Mm-hmm.
I just think that there was no amount of child support that any father could
Mm-hmm.
pay that's going to replace their
Amount to their,
presence.
yeah.
And then to
You're,
kind of go back to what you said, I'm raising a Black son and I'm raising a daughter. So I don't
mm-hmm.
want my daughter to have this mindset of Black men ain't shit. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
want my son to feel like he has
They
to
blame.
live up to this Black men ain't shit. So
Mm-hmm.
it's also changing that narrative because, you know, and I tell and I, I tell my son all the time, you're a representation to what your sister sees along with her father, because you're the Black man that's in the household,
Yeah.
and I tell my daughter, because I don't want my son to feel like his feelings are invalid when it comes to
Mm,
women. So we have to watch what we say and do to
around
him as
him.
well. So, it's like you said, it's bigger than just this is my baby daddy or this is my child's father.
That's
And
why we
then
don't
my
daddy, because we exactly,
yes.
we don't want to. Again, that's degenerative of who he is as a male. He one day will be a father. So
Yes.
we don't want him to live up to being just a baby daddy.
Baby
No,
daddy.
we don't.
Exactly.
He's the family,
Exactly.
the father of a family. And she's
Mhm.
going to be a mother of a family. And both of those roles are very significant and very powerful. And so we don't want
Yes.
to discourage them at the age of 14 and 8. We don't want to discourage them at the age of 15
Exactly.
and
Right.
3, Like, oh, that's what
Yep.
it is. That's being a mama. Oh, I'm a baby mama. No, God, no. Y'all, I'm going to have to
Yep.
go and take, we have to get home and then I'll jump back on, okay?
Okay.
All right.
So being being the only one, or being the only one that pays child support on the panel, it's just kind of like one of them things. I was like, bro, like, so like when I got put up, like when the system got put in our business, it was one of them things where, um, she was going for assistance, and they were just kind of like, well, we gonna help you, but we gonna go out. We gonna help you, but we gonna go after her dad to pay us back. And it was just like one of them things where I was like, bro, I'm a college student with very little money, and they were just like, well, 250 a month, and I was like, I'm in school, like I can't afford that, and it was just kind of like one of them things. It was like, well, figure it out. And for the longest time, I was just, and it's just me being open and honest and transparent. For the longest time, I was just like, bro, like I don't like her. I didn't like my child's mother because I was like, bro, you got these folks involved, and I got to do this, and I got to pay that, and I got to struggle here, and this is messing up that, and it's just like I didn't like her. Um, and but I had to have a conversation with people like, hey, you may not like her, but you gotta respect her. And at the end of the day, like y'all gotta do what's best for that little girl. And when that mindset kind of clicked for me, I was like, okay, we can work a couple extra shifts. We could move some money around. It come out of checks anyway. Let's not worry about it. Um, but it's fun. It's kind of funny that y'all both brought up the whole child support thing because I found a video. that I'm gonna share with y'all. We'll share with you.
Well, before we get into the video, I'm just gonna say this. I think child support a lot of times is used as a weapon against fathers, but we'll get into that after the video.
Oh, I most definitely think it is. Let's see there. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
That's the wrong button. All right, we're gonna start. I'm gonna start this over. The premise of the video is the guy, the white guy, is bragging on how much he pays in child support.
Okay.
As a dude that pays child support, it's not gonna lie, it pissed me off. So y'all enjoy. Here we go.
Me and Alicia have 2 daughters together, and my payment to her is $31 a month.
That's food for 2 days.
Me and Kathleen have 1 daughter, and my total payment to her is $140 a month.
Wait, that doesn't seem fair to Alicia.
Me and Chelsea have 1 son, and my
Excuse me, bro. How did you fertilize all these women?
1 son, and my total payment to her is $14 a month.
That would not even buy enough fuel to go cash the check.
Me and Alyssa have 1 son together.
Another one? How did this $14 paying man convince all these women to do shakalaka boom boom with him?
And my total payment to her is $24 a month.
And why is he paying what I spent on chicken nuggets in 3 seconds as a whole month worth of child support payment?
Me and Brandy have 1 daughter together.
DJ Kali, where are you?
Another one.
Payment to her is $28 a month.
That cannot even feed a bacteria, but please tell me there is not another one.
Me and Samantha have 1 daughter.
Jesus Christ on a motorbike. What is bro's name? The fertilizer?
Together, and my total payment to her is $0. I don't pay her anything.
Bro, why are you saying that proudly? Are you not embarrassed? I am embarrassed for you.
And that comes out to a grand total of $237.
Oh, thank God it is finished.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so he gets, I don't know who his lawyer is. I don't know who he know at the court. I don't know if he's smashing judges. But
Listen.
Counted what, 6 women?
Well, here's the thing. That's a whole nother show. Just because me personally, as a woman, and as a woman with children. So I'm gonna run this back again. This might be a little off subject, but of course, dating and being a parent has been an adventure. But you know, I guess people expect you not to have standards. And when I just had my son, I honestly did not want to date anyone that had children because of the stigma of the bitter baby mama. Although I was not a bitter baby mama, I felt like my situation was a rare situation, which it was. But there is absolutely no way that I'm going to date anyone that has that many children and that many baby mamas. Now I know I got 2 kids, 2 baby daddies, but listen, once you run the threshold of 3 baby mamas, I'm cool. And I actually had a guy one time, he tried to talk to me. He had 8 children with 5 baby mamas, and let's just say that conversation was very short. But yeah, there's that. So that's in itself, but just him, the amount of child support, first of all, you know, if I feel like in some cases, again, a lot of times child support is used as a weapon against fathers. I know this. But there are some times where women are genuinely like, hey, I need help, and the father's not helping. and this father is not working, or he's constantly switching jobs to avoid paying this mother who's trying to genuinely take care of their child. $27, listen, is a meal for 2 days. I don't know what person can eat off 27 and going. I mean, just the inflation with groceries, that is a hot mess. And I just want to know what the one mama went to do to get $150, because
Right.
I guess
Like,
it depends on the
who
age of
she
the
know?
child. Yeah, like who she know, because he been getting off.
Right.
But
Like,
probably because he got so many kids.
maybe. Like, so I spent $27 last night for just me because I went to Genghis Grill, and I was like, wait a minute, $27.
But
How
listen,
you able to do that?
McDonald's ain't even got a dollar menu no more, so that says enough. You can't feed kids off a Happy Meal. Happy Meal is $7-8 now.
Man, unless you got even with the app, it's like $5.
Right. Well, I don't have the app, so because I don't really eat McDonald's, but I'm just saying.
There was a time in my house, like, we had downloaded McDonald's app. Happy Meal,
Listen, that
cookies.
4 for $4 went up. It's $5 and
Man,
$6 now. So
you can't even say it's a $5 biggie bag. It's $6.50.
I'm telling you.
So but I don't know, like that. So like I said, like me being a person that is on child support, I don't have that many kids. I don't know how you doing it. Like, and then the last baby mama, she just kind of like, damn.
Maybe
I
she
guess
doesn't have him on child support,
I don't know.
because I don't see her not getting awarded anything. But this $14, $27, like, that's a mess. A month?
And if we're being honest, fellas and ladies, when y'all see this, I'm about 98% sure that his child support finna go up, because that video has gone viral. And somebody's gonna drag his stupid ass back in court and say, "Hey, so he making money on TikTok and Facebook. I need an increase."
I need an increase.
So we may get an
Please.
update video. I was a little overzealous and ran my mouth. Now I pay $27. No, I paid $38 for this kid, and I pay $125 for that one. So, but no, I do agree with you when you say that child support is kind of used as a weapon in some instances in our community. So, I'll say this. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll say this. If nothing else, when you in a club or you're at wherever you are, you scrolling through Instagram, you liking pictures, you going on dates, going on Tinder, and you either get pregnant or impregnate these women. Be careful, man, because if nothing else, when you get into these situations, it's either it's a lifetime of you are the father or you are the mama. It ain't no more days off. Now I know there are dads that out here not doing shit, but I'm not one of them. I'm involved. And there are a lot of other black fathers that are involved. And we in this for the long haul. Like, I got a text message earlier. Daddy, can I get my allowance back? Man, no, you need a job. Like, you 15 now, you can go to work. But I gotta go to school. No, you need a job. You expensive. And I gotta do that for 4 kids. Y'all know why I work.
Holla my boy. Help him out.
But no, like, it's a lifetime responsibility. And then I know, with all the way they're passing laws, it's harder to get rid of that lifetime of responsibility. And they locking folks up for trying to do stuff like that. So like when you out here sliding in DMs or doing what you do, man, make
I
sure
mean, and let's
you know what
just
you're
be
doing.
honest. Like, I hate to say this, but a lot of times we know who we're getting with. I'm gonna just be real. Like, we know who we're laying down with most of the times. Either he has children already that he barely taking care of, or he's barely saying about you and you have a baby with this man and he's barely saying about this baby. And you want to say, oh, he changed. No, he showed you signs in the beginning. Like, my son's father, I bring him up a lot because we were together the longest, and I kind of saw his transition from a teenager to an adult to him being almost a 40-year-old man. Like, he's never missed a beat. He and I, there was one point in time, my son was maybe like 2 or 3, where we were kind of going through our situations. And so again, that was around the time he started dating this other young lady, and she was being super disrespectful. And so I told him, until y'all can get y'all shit together, and until you guys develop a mutual respect, do not pick my son up from school. Don't call me, figure it out, because at this point you're being disrespectful to me, and I'm just really trying to be a parent to your child. And that went on for maybe about 2 weeks, where he could not pick my son up from school. And I'm not gonna say he couldn't see him, he just couldn't come to my house to see him. I didn't want anything, I didn't want any communication or anything like that. And he was going to my son's daycare every day to see him. He would go up there about an hour or two just to see him, until the daycare lady was like, when are you gonna fix this, because he's been coming up here every day. That's how I found out he's going up there every day. And so at that point I had to have a conversation with him, because that was never my intention. But at the same time, like, we had to develop some type of respect. Like, I'm not going to be disrespected, and I'm literally respecting your boundaries. I'm respecting your relationship. There was no back and forth. I didn't even know this girl. Of course she knew who I was. And so, I mean, to this day, he has not missed a beat. And my son is 14, and my son's dad has cut his hair since he was 10 months old. My son has locks now, and he gets the little line. My son's dad was over here probably about 2 hours ago, lining my son up and dropping off his little basketball fee. He lined him up at the table, gave him the money, and left out the door. And he was he asked me some questions, but he and I are cool. Like, we hold conversations on the phone, but we ain't hanging out or nothing like that. But when it comes to my son, he was asking me, what time is his game and all that. And it was just that on that. It's like, we have that type of relationship to where some people might be intimidated by it, but that's one of the things I always set up. I tell people up front, any person that I'm finding, myself being serious with, hey, my kid's father and I, we're cool. Like, they ain't calling me late at night. They ain't calling me early in the morning. If they calling me early in the morning, it's what time can I pick up my child? And I will tell them, come now. It's one of those. It's never been, a situation where I'm sneaking and holding conversations. Nah, we cool. We co-parent. And that's it. And I think a lot of people are intimidated by that as well. But kind of going back to what I was saying, you kind of know the people you lay up with. And it's never a shocking factor. I mean, I can count on maybe one hand where I've seen situations where it was shocking. Like, I never saw this from this person. But most of the time, you know who you're laying with. So I don't even know why we play this game.
That's a problem too.
Huh? Yeah.
If
hello.
You don't know who you landing with. That's a problem too. Like,
that's a definite problem. Now, I know people to get pregnant off. Well, I don't know personally, but I've heard stories of people getting pregnant off of one night stands. But that's the risk you take. You don't know this person. I mean, it may turn out to be a beautiful thing, but it may also turn out to be your worst nightmare. So, like you said, you got to be careful.
I no one night stand, but that what how your mom and daddy be like, all it takes is one time. I can attest to that. It takes one time.
Yeah. Well, I know. Like I said, I had a miscarriage and turned around, and boom, here we are again. And I was like, wow, I didn't know it could happen so fast. Like, I thought you was gonna give us a little time, Lord.
No. But we're gonna go to break. We'll be right back for more Hertz World. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Hertz World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, the Big Hurt. And if she says I'm not, that Jezebel's a liar. Man, we're talking co-parent today. Co-parenting, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If we being honest, like I know because I have female friends, I have male friends. I know some of these badass stories that like get the girl pregnant. You don't show up, for nothing. Like you were there at the baby shower, you were there maybe at the birth, and then we ain't seen you for like 3-4 years. You dodging child support. You soliciting jobs. You doing this, you doing that. You ain't doing what you're supposed to do. So I know the horrible stories, but to hear 2 positive stories, it's kind of refreshing because like I said, it's dudes and women out here that are, just like, hey, we ain't got to be together to take care of this kid.
And we don't.
And for the,
we don't.
And I'm gonna be honest, like for the longest time, like I want to say like the first 6 months after me and my oldest my oldest daughter's mom broke up, I was one of them dudes like like your second baby daddy, your second child's father. Hey man, I want my family back. I want my family. Like we got to be together. And
did you really though?
I did. Like I was like, bro, like I was like, I want that two parent household, raising a kid. We work through differences. I wanted all that, because like
had you had other children though?
Like
okay,
my oldest is like no. My oldest made me, my oldest is my oldest. And and then it kind of threw me for a loop because I was like, man, you come from a 2-parent household. Why wouldn't you want a 2-parent household for your child? And it just kind of took me a minute to like, you know what? This ain't that. You just got to kind of be like, hey, I'm gonna take care of my kid. That's it. We're gonna be cordial. We're gonna be, we're gonna be on the same page. We're gonna have conversations. It ain't gonna be all, peaches and cream, but we can make stuff work.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of once I figured that out, I was like, okay, I can do this. I can be a co-parent.
Yeah.
The second one,
it may take some time though. It may take some time. Because I tell you, like, in both of my situations, I've never been the person to ever keep my children away from their dad. So if it was ever a situation, hey, I want to get my child, hey, I want to do this, I'm never going to question it. Like, all right, what time are you picking her up? And what time, what day should I expect them back just so I know I'm here? Or call me and I'll meet you or whatever. I've always been that person, but to get there, it took a minute. And even with, like I said, when my daughter's there, he's a special breed. Because even
recently, he want his family back.
Nah, dog. Nah, like you had that opportunity. You chose to do what you did with it, and now your ship has sailed. And even too, like, with it, he has another child. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I just, that just ain't for me. He's not the person for me. And that's okay. And then I'm dating somebody else, and so, it's just not gonna happen.
I was gonna tell folks to slide in your DM, but I won't now.
Yeah, I mean they can slide, but there's no guarantee I'm gonna answer. Sorry.
Look, don't slide on her DMs because me and I call her T squared. Me and T squared used to work together, and I told T squared like, look, if this don't work out, I can be the stepdad. I'm just,
Oh
but that was
Lord,
a long time
shut
ago.
up.
But don't slide in T squared DM. I ain't trying to mess up what she got. Don't slide in her DMs. I know I used to be like sliding those DMs, but don't do it.
Nah, but
So,
he just it's kind of funny because recently he was like, didn't we say if we weren't married by a certain age, we were gonna get married? And I was like, I never said that. Like that never came out of my mouth. So it's funny that he still brings this stuff up even after, but I think he knows like it's not happening. And then not only that situation, it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work.
you had
I
your share,
mean,
Blue.
yeah, it's basically. I don't think
So
I would be able to ever trust him as a partner again. As far as being a partner for me, but a father, he don't miss a beat with my daughter. So he's a great father, terrible boyfriend, great father. So
um, hey, so everybody can be perfect,
you
but hey,
know, uh,
he a good
and I
daddy,
would
and that's
much rather him be a great father. So
there
in
you
this
go.
situation,
Black fathers matter.
they
So
matter.
I told y'all kind of in the beginning, before we hit record or whatever, that we were gonna talk about some current events, but I was gonna
Mm-hmm.
put my own little twist on it.
All right.
So
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My daughter was getting a little loud.
so here's how we're gonna put my own little twist on a current event. Now, unless you have been under a rock in the last 72 hours,
I probably have.
Jada, I hate Will Pinkett Smith
Oh my God. Okay.
is back in the news running her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't enough that she was in the news for being entangled with August Alsina, and now August Alsina's gay. It wasn't enough that after the said entanglement, she got offended because Chris Rock made a joke about her hair, and Will Smith had to come up on stage and defend his wife, and it's the slap heard around the world. It's not enough that he may have lost all these endorsements and money because he slapped Chris Rock. Jada had to come back and open her mouth again
She had to run it
and
back like Turbo.
say when Will slapped Chris, I was taken aback because he said his wife. I haven't heard him say wife in about 7 years because they've supposedly been separated since 2016. Now, Jada, we didn't even know that. We don't really care. Like,
We don't. We
we
don't
know
care
you.
at all.
If we're being honest, we know you've been toxic for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But for you to come out here and say, "Oh, well, we've been separated since 2016," and I was just taken aback when you said my wife. Why are you out here embarrassing this black man
Polar
like this?
Will. I know.
So my question to you is, Jada and Will are separated. They've been separated for a while.
Mm-hmm.
How you think Will and Jada gonna co-parent?
Well, first of all the kids are grown. So,
I just
I
feel like
mean,
they grown, but I feel like I give it 3 more months. she gonna come out. Me and Will are having a baby. What?
Um, it would be kind of late in the game for that. But honestly, this whole thing, I'm with you. This is just something we didn't care to know, probably shouldn't have known. I think Will has been put at risk for a lot of things that he just shouldn't be at risk for. Do I think Will's perfect? No. But he has the decency to keep his mouth closed. So, we've heard the rumors for years. We just was like, nah, we didn't see the evidence. And now it's like, okay, now the rumors we heard before might have been true. So not necessarily them being swingers, they were just cheating on each other. So there's that. But both of their kids are grown. So it's like, once your kids are grown, and now don't get me wrong, a lot of people say, oh, I gotta co-parent until I'm 8 or till my kids are 18. That's not true because, I always look at my parents. My mom and dad are not married, and then my dad has now married someone else, and I have children. And so for birthday parties and Christmases and stuff like that, they want to be a part of my children, both my mom and dad. And so, I don't know how I feel. I'm sure my mom doesn't really care. I don't know how my dad's wife feels about it, but my dad, he comes around, to share with with the kids, but I'm sure that that's still a forever thing. And hell, I'm about to be 37, and so they're still co-parenting in some way. Not necessarily for me, but for their grandchildren. And if they live to see their great grandchildren, there'll be some times where they have to join together for that, for graduations and stuff like that. So, I say that their kids are grown, but their kids are grown, and it becomes a little bit easier once the kids are grown. Like for me, my kids have cell phones, so I don't really have to communicate a whole lot with their dads unless it's something important where I feel like a child shouldn't have to relay this message. At that point, I'm picking up the phone. But if it's something like, hey, tell your dad to make sure he pick you up from school tomorrow, or make sure you tell your dad you got tutoring after school and I'll pick you up until this time, especially for my son, he can communicate that a lot easier than my daughter can. I have to communicate with her dad a lot more than my son's dad. But simple stuff like my son needing a haircut. Did you call your dad and tell me you need a haircut? Yes, ma'am, I did. Okay, cool. As long as I know it's done, I don't really have to do a whole lot. So I just think this whole Will and Jada thing is bigger than them even co-parenting. They got a lot more issues than co-parenting, for
I
real.
agree.
I believe Jada's a menace, and I need to.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be 100.
I wanted to be on her side so bad, but now it's
getting hard.
It ain't even hard no more. I can't even do it. Like I can't do it. I can't even support that no more.
Jada's a menace.
Not to me.
Jada's a menace, and Jada needs to be stopped. I feel like a lot of people have said it, so I'm gonna say it again. Take us out the group chat, y'all. Like I don't care. Like
please take us out, please, because I'm
Delete
putting y'all on do not disturb.
Yeah, like
muting it. You're gonna mute it.
Yes.
It's funny for a little while, but I'm like, bro, like, damn, like, do we have? So the things, and I know like some of this is all a ploy, to get us to pre-order her book of memoirs and stuff, and I get all that. But bruh,
I'm gonna give you my honest opinion, and I was talking to this. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion, and I was telling somebody this the other day. I honestly think that they're not doing an official divorce because it's really all money related. they each serve to lose a lot if they were to divorce. And so at this point, it's like we spent all this time together. There's no point in getting a divorce. You know, it's not like she has children, so she stands to probably lose a lot more than he does. And so at this point, it's just like, all right, well, I'm not gonna divorce you, because if I do, I risk losing all of, because like any royalties or anything like that, you know, as long as she's his wife, she's gonna get what she's gonna get. But if she's no longer his wife and they don't have minor children, she's not gonna get anything. I mean, I'm pretty sure the kids will get something, and she's staying. You know, they'll help take care of her. But I just think at this point, and don't get me wrong, she has her own businesses. She's, you know, she's pretty successful. But I just think that at this point, it's a business. It's no longer a relationship, and that's just my honest opinion, because it's
And
just like I got too much going
it's
on.
been like that for a long time now. That's where I think that comes from, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
She said 7 years. I'm like, okay. I mean, to me, I can't say it's just her. That's just, I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
mean, I know
and
she's the one talking. I know she's the one,
Mhm.
you know, out there, and she's the bad guy. But, and Will
Nah,
not
I agree
saying
with that
anything.
too.
I don't look at that as like, oh, well, he's not saying anything, so he's okay. Like, or, you know, so it must be Jada.
Yeah.
That to me, that's a narcissistic trait. A narcissist is never going to say anything because they don't want to look like they're bad anyway. That's just me. I mean,
Now I can see that, and
yeah,
looking at
I
that
didn't think about it
and
like
I
that.
look
Okay.
at it, and
yeah.
also what his wife Cherie has said about him and how he was when they divorced, because she also divorced him. So I can't. I'm sorry, Will don't get a pass from me. I mean, personally, I mean, you're talking about 7 years. Okay, so you did that. He also was involved in Red Table Talk. If you look at executive production, he's on that. So he went. I mean, if it was all Jada, then he went along with it, you know, and he put himself out there to be the good guy done bad by Jada. I mean, that's a them thing. That ain't just her. Now she's the one that's bold enough to come out and finally say something. But if you really listen to what she said before, even in Red Table Talk, she didn't want to get married on New Year's Eve. That was all him. You know, it was all about an act for Will. Even his daughter came on to say that. You know, when you look at pictures of them, it's all about him. And there's like, I'm David Ruffin and these are the Temptations. That's what he gives me. And you're talking about an entire family who's under that whole
I think that's why the
thing.
kids are a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs too now.
Well, I mean, look what they came in under, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, but that also goes back to them. That's not just a her. They raised him. They raised those children, or they put those, or those children were raised with them. I don't know how to describe that, but I think that's a them thing, and it's just Jada is the one who's going to say something, as she always has. You know, Will has always been the cookie cutter, you know, best actor. You know, he was the Barack Obama of black actors. So, you know, he in Hollywood. I mean, if anybody says anything bad about him up into the Chris Rock thing, Will Smith wasn't going to be touched, and I think he knows that. Like it's going to go on everybody else but him. So that's just me. I'm always the person that's gonna. I don't think it's all Jada. Jada is the one that is going to be the fall guy because she's the one that's being vocal, but they're all making money from it. So I
can see
blame Jada.
Of course, but that's us. We always have to blame somebody. But to me,
I personally blame them both.
Yeah, I blame them both. I mean, but Jada's getting a lot of flack because she's telling their business. You know, so it's like, okay, you know, but
yeah, but it's always
business, but telling their business has been their business for so long. They've been about the business of selling business. So I'm like, how are you going? It wasn't bad when she brought Pharrell or Snoop on, you know. So when she talked about August Alsina and all of that and that's what kills me, the August Alsina thing. So you mean to tell me y'all were separated then too, and then here's Will looking like, oh my God, you were in entanglement, and he has this whole solemn face like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And the whole time y'all separated. So are y'all not together? No way. So don't give me I'm the victim face. When you knew what the hell was going on.
And that's the part for me that I'm like, okay, so y'all were separated, and so why did we get this story again? And true enough, it was.
Hey, now that's my thing. The timing of it to me is off. But
Yeah.
like with parenting, and they got parenting, when the kids were growing up. I know before my mom and dad divorced, I know that was one of the main things is making sure waited till I got out of high school. I didn't know they wanted to separate before then, but it was like, let's just get Shantae out of high school, then we can go on and do our thing. So maybe that may have been a reason. I don't know. I could see that.
I could see that too.
Yeah, like let's not do this now. Let's not do it. But now that everybody's well on their own, and
but they've been living separate for 7 years.
Mm-hmm. So the Red Table Talk thing was, with him being involved in the episodes that he was in, especially talking about himself, and when they had the whole genetic makeup situation and how it was all family, and it was like, Will does this, and I know he does this too. That like y'all wasn't even together, like. So that's why I can't fully blame Jada for whatever, because she was involved in a damn near 20-year-old act. And it seems like she's the one that's tired. You know what I'm saying? Now she's being vocal about it. She's no longer keeping up the act. So, and we're just all used to it. So, we're all used to being like, why y'all doing this to Will? Like the golden boy? Oh, I don't look at it like that. I mean, she's going to be the fall guy regardless, because she has.
So what are your thoughts about the whole slap situation and how that was even brought about?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think let me say this. I don't think Will is not drug free. I'll put it that way.
He on something.
Also, I have to look at the whole thing, the pictures, all that stuff that was taken before the Oscars, and how they were just on this high. I don't know if it's metaphorically and literally, but you could just see, you could just see if you just go back and look at chronological order of how they went onto the red carpet, the posts that were made for them on Instagram, to him being on in the audience, and just how his whole demeanor changed. He was on something. I really do. That's me. I personally think he was on something. And even Jada said, him and her and Chris have had like a rift before. So I think that he was honestly on something. And I don't think anything was going to happen to him, because he was embraced just as much after the slap. Like Denzel came up to him, everybody, it was just like everybody understood with his pain, because again, he's Hollywood's golden boy. So, I don't think Will honestly thinks he can't be touched, and he didn't think he was going to be touched by the Academy, by the backlash that came from it. He thought he was being tough, because he's that cookie cutter actor. But that's what I think. Like she looked just as shocked as we did. Like, what the hell are you doing? Because you're not really about that life. But
do you think he could have stopped her? I mean, do you think she could have stopped him?
No, because again, we're talking about Will Smith. He's still very much, I am Will Smith. I'm in actor mode. Like their whole that was a whole sham. Just like the whole past 7 years have been a sham. He still has to put up on that image. He's defending his wife. Like, and it's not your wife. Y'all not like that. If that's the case, then like all of us, Jada can be can go on Red Table Talk and talk about you bad. So why would you even do that? But he don't think he can be touched. That's just, and here we are.
He was defending his wife that wasn't his wife.
But yet we're here. But yet we pissed off at Jada. Like, I don't. That's the part that I don't like. Now he did that, and we're just like, but Jada talked too much.
Yeah.
But but at the same time, he's just involved in the act. He's not saying anything though. That's the whole.
I mean, that's a good perspective though. It's different.
it is different because like I didn't think about it like in that aspect.
Me either.
Now, because if we being honest, like I was all for the whole like, oh man, like this man protect your wife, brother. Like that's great. Protect black love, and then you come out 2 years later. Oh well, I was just so shocked that he called me his wife. Man, like we stopped talking about this 2 years ago. We don't give a damn about this slap no more. And then she was like, "Oh, I was a drug dealer back in the day." Jada, what?
Okay, so let me, because being people of media, you gotta understand we're being fed a lot of this. These are just sound bites from her interviews. She probably talked way more about other stuff about the book. They're gonna take whatever is sensationalized and regurgitate it to us, and they know we're gonna comment about it. We're gonna share it. We're gonna say we're gonna make all the memes in the world. But then that's all we take from it. When I honestly, if you read I haven't read the book, but I've followed Jada. She came from trauma.
Yeah.
That's the part that I really want, especially Black women to see. Not just anything about Will or Tupac, but where her background, where she came from, and like for her to reach to the heights that she did, and to know that even at the peak of her career and in the midst of having children and all that, she didn't want to even be here anymore. And that's a lot of and that's what I think a lot of Black women and Black mothers go through. Just that trauma alone. And I'm like, if I was Jada and I was living in a house like that and Will Smith was my husband, ain't no way. Yeah, it's a way. It's a way that you could feel the exact same way. I just don't want us to lose sight of the point of what she's saying. Because the Will and Tupac stuff, that's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, y'all leave your thoughts in the comments on YouTube. I know a lot of us has been like, man, take us out of the group chat. Mute me, block me, because I'm probably gonna read the book just to see what she say. But take me out of the group chat. I'm tired of y'all.
I'm tired of hearing about her, and I know that was a part of her life and all, but I'm tired. Well, I'm tired of it being that's all that's being said, because I know that there's more to it, but right. we love the mess, so of course.
J. Cole, whenever you hear this, I know we don't want the Will and Jada love no more because it's very toxic. We going to break. Stay tuned for more Herc's World.
Definitely don't want that.
I don't want it. Yep.
Welcome back to Herc's World. I am your girlfriend, favorite podcast host, Big Herc. And if she says I'm not, that hoe's a liar. So we're talking co-parenting, man. So another thing that we have that has been kind of big in the media in the last couple of days, other than Will and Jada, and now I can't find it. Great.
Did you say Krishan? I don't know.
That's
I'm trying to think of what you said when you introduced. Okay, you cut that.
I thought it was Sexy Red.
Oh, Sexy Red.
Sexy Red, yes.
Now, unless you've been living under a rock or not on Instagram, the BET Hip Hop Awards were last week, and Sexy Red was there. And y'all, we talked about Sexy Red recently in her lip gloss. That please don't. I hope y'all really don't buy that shit. Unless you change the name, unless y'all just like yellow discharge on your lips. Do with that information what you will.
Oh my God.
But what you wearing, yellow discharge? Like the
oh my God.
Really good.
Or green gonorrhea,
Yeah. Nut.
Or my nut. Booty hole brown. Whatever you got.
Those are the names of the lip gloss. Oh my God.
It is catchy. It does make you be like, what? So
no
one shock value.
I don't want to be like, what color you wearing? Yeah, a little gonorrhea. What?
Oh,
Hell
I'm wearing
no.
nut, baby. I'm wearing nut today.
No, thank you. I'm
and
good.
this shit is on. Wait, this shit is on Temu.
No, no.
It's on
She got
Temu.
it, like I said, she got it for shock value. She definitely did that.
Let's see the names. And we went over them a couple weeks ago, but we're gonna go over them again. Coochie Juice, Booty Hole Brown, Coochie Pink, Sex on My Period, Gonorrhea, Yellow Discharge, and Nut are the names of her lip gloss. And ironically, when I went to go look at um said stuff, what do I find on the internet? Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Korean. That's my Sexy Red stuff. Let me not say that. But some shit on Temu. Um, but no, Sexy Red is apparently pregnant. Now, my question is she pregnant by the dude that she took the picture with the ankle monitor on, or is another dude? How y'all think Sexy Red coat? Because she says specifically in a song, she out in Miami looking for the hoochie daddies. Her son need a new pappy. How y'all think Sexy Red co-parenting?
Like I said before, we know who we lay down with. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So whoever the baby daddy is, you knew who you laid down with. Period.
Ooh,
You about to get a bag, pimp. That's all
yeah,
I can say to you.
yeah.
Man.
Oh my God. I don't know how she co-parents. I wouldn't.
I don't ascribe to her
I
to
don't. I
her
mean, at this time, she's an entertainer. So, as we know, with entertainers, they could look like one thing and be a totally different situation.
This is true.
You know, she's exuding the whole ghetto girl, that type of ratchet situation. I wouldn't put it past her that her life is mid suburbia at this point because of, the money that she's making, or at least it's headed that way. I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put that past her. Because I mean, being an artist, you do have to have some sense of some sort of intelligence on a level. So I wouldn't put it past her if it was pretty normal. Maybe mom or baby daddy's. I hate the word. Her children's father, because maybe their families are involved because she's on the rise with her career. I would think that she would want that life kind of being handled correctly and properly because she's in a career where she can afford, where they can afford certain things now.
But I say to that, again, a lot of these entertainers, true enough, yeah, she may have made some money, but a lot of times they're not making the money that we think they make.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that being said, yes, she's an entertainer. She's putting out this image, and behind closed doors, it can be something completely different. So, I don't really look at these artists and like, okay, well, they're in a better position because she could be living the same lifestyle I'm living.
True.
So I don't know.
I feel you on that because there's a lot of entertainers who were put in the position to do well, and now they right there in prison because they still was trying to live that hood life. So,
or just a lot of entertainers, you got to think when they sign to these, a lot of them, even if they go independent, they're still not making as much money. And then if they sign to these labels, a lot of times the labels are not paying them what we would think. They got the jury on in the videos, they got the name brand on in the videos, but in reality, they looking for a job at McDonald's, just like the next person. So and I only know it because I've been personally associated with an with people of the entertainment world, and I've seen the insides, and
Mhm.
it's not what we think it is at all. And that's why I always tell my son, like, you know, these rappers, don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you into thinking that that's the lifestyle you want to live, because it's not. They're not. Half of them, I tell you, it's very low percentage of them that's making the money that we think that they're really making.
Yeah.
Or that's really living their life.
Agreed. I'm gonna ruin it for y'all. Drake the baby daddy.
Ah.
Now, if that's the case,
Oh, she's
she
straight
on.
then. She good. She
It's
good.
Drake baby. I don't know. I'm just talking.
She's
Look,
then she is in a very good position, because did you see the picture of
I
him
did.
and his mother? I mean, and his child's mother and the grandmother and her parents. Oh, they good.
Mm-mm.
They good.
She not, because it. She ain't good, because that she about to be a single parent. Because Drake had look at Drake. Look at SZA. Just saying. But that's Drake. I don't know if that's Drake kid for real. I'm just talking. I'm trying to give me a Joe Budden moment.
Wow.
'cause
Wait, but though
there you go.
is Tim's is Tim's in Future? They having a baby? Is that true?
I heard I heard Tim was pregnant, and I heard it was Future baby. I really hope it's not. Just for my psyche. I like Tim, and
For his psyche only.
right. For my psyche, I just need that not to be Future. I need her not to have smash Future. But
don't taint the image. Please don't taint the image.
But that kind of goes back to what we were saying about Will and Jada. Like, Future has this horrible image as being this horrible person and this horrible baby daddy, when we don't really know the truth. Because I've also heard things about Russell Wilson that, he's just the type of person that doesn't really like outside communication. And so, how do we know that he's not preventing that from happening or whatever?
Right.
Or he's not preventing Sierra from maintaining a co-parent relationship.
That's true too.
So
you're gonna get attacked. You can't talk. You can't say nothing bad against Russell and Sierra. That's God level relationship.
Oh, whatever.
That's like relationship goals and all that.
Listen, I'm Team Future.
Oh gosh.
His toxicity and all
his scorpion powers.
Hey, because this folks like, girl, I need that prayer. Like, what it, ma'am? You don't need that prayer.
No,
there's a dude in your inbox right now that is on.
I know you won't give him a chance because he's 5'5".
Or
wait a minute, now that is a. Hold up, man.
I'm sorry. Or he work at McDonald's, or he ain't got dreads, or he ain't got no beard. He a little chubby.
Listen, you don't have to have beards. You don't have to have dreads, but he cannot work at McDonald's. Okay.
We have to set the boundary somewhere.
Like, you cannot work at McDonald's. McDonald's not it.
Listen, I'm 5 feet myself. 5'5" is a stretch for even me. Okay. And I know I can't be choosing like that. I'm 5 feet myself. I get it, but hey, that's my boundary I'm setting, and I'm sticking to it. Okay.
Okay, 5'7". He's 5'7".
You know what? There we go.
Hey, I'm 5'8.5", and I work for a Fortune 500 company. Just
hey, McDonald's is probably McDonald's
Fortune 500. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
He worked fries at McDonald's. I work not.
You in the front. You in the front.
Yeah.
You on the
you
first
get to work the register.
You on the first drive.
I got a little.
You take the change.
I got a little ring.
You take the change.
You tell him pull to the next one, please.
Yeah, I got a little power. But ladies and gentlemen, that your person may be in your inbox, and you sitting there ignoring them because your standards are a little bit. And I don't want to say your standards are too high, but sometimes they may be unrealistic. You can't be out here looking for somebody that is
Hey, you can look for whatever you want. Now, are you
Right.
gonna find it? Is the question.
you can't be out here hollering, I need a dude with 6 figures, and you ain't got no job. You can't do that.
No,
That's not
it's
gonna work.
not.
Now
That's not how
this
that works.
No,
is true.
true. But let's also take it, if we're gonna take it to social media, you know what I'm saying, you can't be looking for a guy that, like, okay, he has 6 figures and everybody on your timeline got, said Big Gang Johnson going all down. You know what I'm saying? Clean
Exactly.
up your timeline too. Clean up who you do interact with. You know what I'm saying?
There
You
you
want to
go.
be
Clean up
man
your
with,
location.
you want to be with a man that has 6 figures. Join a couple of 6-figure groups. You know what I mean? Start there.
I'm telling you, go to the golf course. That's where the 6
Right.
figures.
I'm just saying.
That's what
I'm
it
just
is.
Telling you, ladies,
saying.
that's my last secret. Go to the golf course.
That's where you
Go to
that's
the
where you
golf
found him at.
course.
Go to the
Learn to
golf course.
golf.
Right.
That's where you
Absolutely.
found him
I
at.
mean, if you can't find a golf course, go to Dick's Sporting Goods, Bass Pro. Start there.
This is on to something.
Family
Or
Fellas, go to church. Not really. Don't go to church. Because they be heathens. Like, look,
yeah, you gonna find the Lord, all right.
Sister Johnson be praising the Lord on Sunday, but she was throwing that ass in the club on Saturday.
Oh my
Same.
God. And you're gonna be saying, oh my God, either way.
Exactly. It may not be good. But no, we're gonna go to break. We're talking co-parenting, man. And we talking the good and the bad. So stay tuned for more Hertz World. Welcome back to Hertz World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, Big Hurt. And we're talking co-parenting. So before we get up out of here, Shantae, 11 years apart, co-parenting. You got the oldest baby, and then the middle, and then the youngest. For anybody out there that's trying to get into their relationship just didn't work out. They wasn't the one. Besides respect, what's some things that are important to you that have helped you be able to co-parent with your child's father or children's father?
Oh, that's a good one. Understanding and compassion. And understand, and when I say understanding, it's so many layers to that. Because again, when we talk about the child's father, for me, because my daughter, it was such a family effort. That's all I knew. We had we uncles, grandparents, everybody was involved with her. And so and I was raised with my mother and father, so that's all I knew too. So I know family. So we have to understand that it's not the no doubt we are the parents are we are the meat of it. It's guided by us, but these are our children's families, and we want our children to live beyond us. And so we have to understand that what we establish, what we don't do, what we do, they in turn are going to inherit that. So we have to understand that. That's why I said understanding is so many variables and levels to that. But that's the main thing: understanding and compassion. We have to understand. We have to have compassion for one another because at the end of the day, we're all still human, and we have to have compassion for one another. And it still trickles down. If we don't have compassion for one another, then what are we teaching our children? We're already being the example of that understanding, compassion, and respect. And if we don't do any one of those, then we can't expect them to do that with their family, the families that they bring into this world, and the ones that they're already established with.
Very well said. What about you, T?
So for me is setting proper boundaries, maintaining those boundaries, on both ends. Respecting those boundaries and giving grace. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all fall short at times. I don't expect either of my kids' fathers to be perfect in any capacity. But as long as I can see the effort and that they're trying, that's all I really ask for, is to at least take the initiative and try. And so for me, that's big. It's just giving grace, and allowing myself to have grace. And knowing that I'm not a perfect parent. I can't do it alone. I've managed to have a wonderful support system outside of their fathers. And so it's just, I have to allow myself grace, allow them grace, and just accept help when it's given and when you need it. And it's okay to say, I need help.
Very well said. Very, very well said. I got nothing else to add. Like I said, like my co-parenting situation, it's a work in progress. We gonna keep trying for a little while until I'll be like, all right, keys up.
Please don't say that. Lord.
I don't mean that literally. I mean that like, go playing traffic for real. But no, like it's all about those things that they mentioned. Like it's about grace. It's about communication. It's about respecting boundaries. It's about setting boundaries. But before all that, it's about who you lay down with and knowing that, hey, this may not. If something does go awry or the condom break or something happens, you stuck with that person forever. So make sure that it's something y'all want to do, because some of these females are a little off track, and some of these dudes are not playing with a full deck. So
these hoes ain't loyal.
They not.
It ain't.
Or they'll have you out here on Instagram famous, because you probably take them on a date to Cheesecake Factory and they above Cheesecake Factory, which is the dumbest shit ever, because Cheesecake Factory expensive. Or they gonna hey, let's go out and have drinks, and they gonna order 48 things of appetizers for oysters and expect you to pay for that shit, which is crazy. Now, would y'all do that to a guy? I'm just curious. Like, a guy invites you out, says, "Hey, let's go out for drinks. Let's get to know each other." And y'all go to this restaurant, and you a fan of oysters. Like, you feel like, hey, they got oysters on the menu. You like oysters, or you never had oysters, or you whatever. Do you go out on dates with the intention to like spend somebody else's money, or do y'all kind of be like, you know what, I'm gonna order within my means just in case he ain't got it and I don't look stupid?
Both.
So, yeah. So listen, I'm gonna give my perspective because I wasn't expecting that, but I got to hear that. Let me see if I can find the video for you. I was brought up. I started dating before we really got social media, so I think a lot of people are really brought into this whole social media thing. Now, if a guy asks me on a date, if he asks me, then in my mind it's like, okay, he's asking, so I'm gonna assume his intentions are to pay. However, I'm going to be able to cover me if in the event that is not the case.
That's why I said both. Yep.
Or because you can also find yourself in just a really weird and creepy situation, and some guys expect you, especially if they drive you, and which that's another thing, a whole nother thing for me. Like on a first date, we can meet. I'll never get in the car with you on the first date unless I've known you before and we have some type of relationship before. Just because you'll find yourself in creepy situations where guys pay for stuff and then they have these expectations. So at that point, it's like, nah, boo, I got me. You cover you, and that's that on that. But yeah, I'm never gonna go somewhere and just be ridiculous. I'm not gonna order a whole bunch of stuff that I wouldn't order if I were by myself or with my friends. I'm just not gonna do that. And besides, who the hell is eating 48 oysters?
No, I wouldn't eat 48. I mean, but if it was like, I mean, like you just said, I'm gonna have fun. You know, if you invited me, then I would. If you're inviting me, then that means that you're going to be paying for it. However, if you can't, I'll have mine to cover it. I'm gonna have fun either way.
Right.
That's my. If in the midst of me having fun, I'm getting some creep vibes, I'm definitely gonna pay for my own. We're gonna probably end the date mid-date because I've already, and that's just it. And if it turns out great, it does. If it doesn't, I got my own. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is, hey, before we go, because I know I was like out for a little bit. And the reason, a big reason when I saw the post about coming on, I really need this opinion on this because of what I do. I really don't address a lot on social media, but if I do, I want it to be on a platform like this. So I'm not, so it could be, speaking of, Jack, go back out there. Lord Jesus, go back out. Close my door. Thank you. All right. Okay. But I wanted to get the opinion on this because it keeps being brought to me via social media, via the person that my son's father is dating. And I don't address that person. So here, y'all want some tea. Here we go. I know y'all like, damn, ain't on this wait. Okay, so
exclusive. Here we go.
Here we go. So my introduction to this person was via an inbox. I didn't know that she was with my son's father previously, and that was his side chick and all that. I'm not even going to get into all of that. But she came into my inbox like, yeah, so it is what it is, and y'all was too old to be having that damn baby anyway. This is my first. Never talked to this person a day in my life. This was maybe a couple of weeks after my son's father and I broke up. Right? Okay. This is my first introduction. I'm just going to talk strictly about the relationship between she and I, trying to leave my son's father out of it. So a couple of months go by, and the next encounter was a group chat.
Oh Lord, she didn't put in a group chat
that she involved us in. I'm missing a part, but these are the main thing. No, never mind. This is that second thing. My daughter, who I told you was 26, she was 24 at the time, and her husband, not my daughter's husband, but the person who my son's father was dating, her husband. Don't ask no questions. Yeah. My daughter and her husband were friends on Facebook. Keep in mind, her husband is friends with my daughter's uncles. That's how they were friends. Wasn't anything like that. She jumps into my daughter's inbox and says, why are you in my husband's inbox? When you come to Mobile, you are off the radar. Okay. She threatened my daughter. All right. My response to that was like any suburban mother, like, hold up, where do you work, young lady? And I called the job. Mind you, I'm working in Atlanta at the time. I'm not even in the area. I'm not around my daughter. None of that. And so even the employee was like, yeah, that's not the way you conduct yourself. We'll talk to her. Da 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 da. Cool. Couple more months go by. Now, mind you, me and the father is back and forth about this person. She went on social media and she had made a post, and a friend of mine did come on there and was like, you wrong for that. And she says, fuck you, fuck that baby, talking about my son and Shantae. All right. At that point, I did talk to my son's father because I'm like, you realize you just said fuck your son. I mean, if it's gonna be woman to woman, straight up, and I'll send you the actual post and all that. I was trying to wrap it up, but in there, like she said, fuck your son, and then she's like, yeah, I said what I said about your son. All right.
And your son's father is still dating this person?
Yeah.
They breathing?
Yeah, this is yeah. So when you made your post about the co-parenting with the ex situation, I was like, yeah, this will be the perfect platform for me to speak on this, because one thing I don't do, I'm not going to address things like in my personal life like that. If I do, it's going to be on a platform where it's going to be to teach other people. I.e. why I'm, one of the main reasons I'm here. So, but I wanted to tell my own personal story, considering this because of the way that it has been going, and it's about my child. I could care less how a person feels about me personally, or what they think I've done, or what I've done, and the same way with my son's father. But when you mention a child, and a child is involved, and now a person who's connected with the other person that's directly responsible for that child, and allows these things to be said and happen, to happen, and then it's like, oh, but do you think he'll really let something happen?
Yeah, because that's why I asked. He's still dating her,
right? I mean, he already has. Girl, I'm not done. So,
wow.
To the group chat,
more.
There's more.
Wait, there's more.
There's more, right? So the group chat. This marriage, it'll be a year finally, thankfully, in December. She added me a group chat. Keep in mind, she's had my number.
Because I was just about to ask, how did she add you to the group chat?
Right. I'm like, what?
I didn't even realize the number. I mean, because keep in mind, it's a person that calls from different numbers, so I'm not knowing what the hell. Before I get to that, we didn't. My son's father. I have to even discuss this part, but my son had to have a surgery. My son's father told the doctor he had to have it within like the next couple of days. He had to go in for it. He went in for his checkup, and they were like, he's gonna have to have surgery soon. It either needs to be this Thursday or this Monday. My son's father says, make it this Thursday. That's what he told the doctor, and he was like, okay, we'll get him set up for Thursday. And so he and I were like, that was my older son's birthday weekend, and I said, hey, can you, watch our, be in here with our son on that Saturday so I can take my older son out? And that happened to also be he said, yeah, but my, his daughter's birthday is around the same time. And he was like, well, yeah, then I can take my daughter for her birthday on that Sunday. That was the agreement. So, and keep in mind, that first day, my son was going to have to be in ICU. So it was already a lot on me. And so I told my mom, and my mom is still very much just the same mother she was when I had my daughter. She was like, hey, if I need to come that Saturday, I will. Tell him I'll be there if he don't, if he can't. And I told him, he was like, well, yeah, probably, because I'm not going to be back to that Sunday anyway. You just
agreed to do Saturday.
Yeah. And he just told the doctor to make the surgery for that Thursday.
When he could have been Monday.
4 days. My son was going to be in there over the weekend. And depending on how my son progressed, he was definitely going to be in there a mandatory 4 days.
And
he could have just made the surgery Monday.
On Monday.
Yeah, he didn't make the surgery Monday. He decided, he said, have it that Thursday. Right. And so he told him, make it for that Thursday. But then I ended up asking him that Tuesday. I was like, hey, my mom said, she could step in for him. He was like, well, yeah, probably, because I'm not going to be back till that Sunday. I ain't gonna lie, y'all, that crushed me, because that was, as far as co-parenting, you broke a trust for our son. This is like I said, you have to establish that we're co-parents now. This is not Shantae, the ex that you can kind of run over.
Right.
I'm Shantae, I'm Hendrix's mother. So, and that's why he's very much still in that mode. And so when he does that, it brings me back to that too. But I still have to remember whose mother I am, if you know what I mean. Flips hair. You're not gonna do Hendrix's mother like that, you know. That's the way
Right.
I have to think of myself, because I will get back into that Shantae mode. But anyway, so off of that, uh, a week and a half later, there was this whole exchange. He was like, I'm gonna give her your number, since you because I had talked to her husband called me while I'm in the hospital with my son.
So why is the husband calling you and
Right?
she's?
Why
I'm
we so
confused.
willy
Like,
nilly with phone numbers? Like,
Because
hello.
because mind you, he's still her husband. He knows who I am. I'm his baby mama. He's got an eye out for him now. See how
So he done
dangerous that
he done
could
sought
be?
you out doing the research. Then
Huh?
found him. I said, so he's done his research to find you
Right.
based on the fact
On
that
her.
she's dating. Okay.
Yeah. And vice versa.
Okay.
I knew who he was. But I knew
Got
who he
it.
was through my daughter's uncles.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're all it's all a it's all a tight-knit community where we are. Well,
Yeah.
where they are. So I mean, I knew of her, of course, through him. And then, realized that they were married, but I didn't know that was a whole cheating situation beforehand. I did eventually find out, obviously. So he reached out to me while I was in the hospital with our son. And that's a whole nother situation. Like, that's the one thing I don't get about my son's father. I'm like, do you realize that relationship, how volatile that could be? Not just to you, but he knows this somebody that's attached to her, who you don't know where his mind is. Now, he knows where I am. I'm in the hospital. He know he can pull up at any point in time. You're not even thinking about all of the other factors. He knows his daughters. He knows where they go to school. You don't know what's on that man's mind, because he's still referring to her as his wife.
His wife.
So we're not, but that's a whole nother can of worms there. So off of that, he was mad that I talked to him. I'm going to give her your number. Keep in mind, that's why I say about narcissists and not saying anything. He's one of them like, oh, I ain't got nothing to do with it once it's done. So that's how she got my number. But at the end of the conversation, after she had, why are you talking to my husband? Now it's back being her husband. After
now he's her husband.
Father went on a whole weekend escapade, because that's what happened. His daughter's birthday she had a sweet 16 birthday weekend during the weekend of my son's surgery, and that's where they all went. And by the time when she got my number, she was upset with me about talking to her husband, and we had our own exchange. And she was like, and you don't give him enough credit. He loved me. He want to be with me. You don't make him smile. This was the text, mind you. I have all the text, all of that. And he wanted to be there for the baby, and he couldn't help that he had already planned that. He hadn't even told her that he told the doctor to make it Thursday, to make it that weekend. When I hit her with that information, I think that's when her as a mother, then she was like, okay, I didn't know that. That's my bad. But the end of that conversation ended. I still don't want you around my son, because what you've already said and done to my son, and what you said, what you threatened to my daughter, which is my son's, and I always have to think, what would my son do if he had to have this exchange with this person? Take me out of it, take his father out of it. If somebody had threatened his daughter, what would I want if threatened his sister? What would my son do? So no, I can't. And you're sitting up there, yeah, I said what I said. You're one of those types? No. So that was that exchange. It was a whole back and forth between them. I don't have nothing to do with that. But come Christmas time, right before Christmas, she includes me in a group message. Apparently they were on the outs. I don't know what, but he had my son that weekend. And she was like, me and Henry ready to talk. And I didn't know who the number was. And I was like, who is this? And she was like, we ready to have a talk now, because my last conversation about her with my son's father was, okay, we're gonna have to all sit down and talk then. If y'all are gonna be serious, then we all need to have some sort of understanding. Although part of me was like, I don't have to have it. She's already showed me who she is.
Right.
You know, so I don't have to have an understanding with her anymore. I'm not going to do that. But I knew I had an upcoming surgery myself. I did end up having a hysterectomy, by the way. So I was like, we're going to have to, if this is what's going to happen, then we need to do this. His words to me were, no, it's no need for that. Only person you need to talk to is me.
Which I could understand where he comes from on that. Right.
I don't know if it was because they were not seeing eye to eye at that point, or it's because he was like, yeah, she said what she said about our son. I'm not with it. I don't know. I never did get that clarification. He said no. I said I was cool with it. All right, then. So we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right.
So I remember here I am being added to a group message. And she was like, we ready to talk. And I called Tim and I was like, who is this? He was like, man, that's that girl. Man, don't be paying no attention. I ain't fucking with her. That whole, because I know how he is, that whole BS. And I was like, well, you need to say something. You're with our son right now, pouring good energy into him. I don't have time for the BS today. You don't have time for the BS because you got our son in tow. Say something. And I will say that was the first time that he ever stepped up and defended anything. And he did. He went in the group chat and he was like, I'm not doing this with you. And her response was, well, I got something to tell you about Mr. Liar. Now she pissed off at him, obviously.
So she was talking to you at this point.
Yeah. She had texted the both of us. That's why I said it was a group message. But then he blocked her out. He never did participate after saying that. But now she's ready to tell me everything. Because keep in mind, we did have an agreement. We put an agreement into place where she was not allowed around him. That was named in the agreement. She was named in the agreement along with what we're doing in child support, our one activity a month with him, with our son. Because at that time he was 2. He's not a teenager. He's not even 5 or older. He's still getting to the buffets free. We're still having to raise. We still want to pour into our son. We still want to raise our son. We don't want him just automatically thinking, oh, mama and daddy at ours, they can't come to, they not going to do anything with me. We never wanted that for our son. Because keep in mind, we were together 6 years. This is not, that's not the world we come. And so she was named in the agreement. He signed the agreement saying she wouldn't be around him. And apparently she wasn't, and it wasn't off of any jealousy thing. And that's the narrative that she's trying to perpetuate now. However, back to the chat, she in turn says, in the middle of the chat, it was a lot said, but what she said about our son was, I could care less about y'all son. I don't care what y'all got going for y'all son. That was all I needed to say.
That's it, and that's all.
That's it. I mean, it was a lot of other things said, but when it came to our son, that's what she said.
Yeah. Everything else is irrelevant.
Right.
Once you did everything else is irrelevant. Once it comes down to the kids.
Right. And that's against my son. Keep in mind, she's already threatened my daughter, his sister. And that's why I said what we don't deal with and what we do deal with, this is what our children are going to inherit. My son is not going to inherit a conditional love with anybody. You're not going to disrespect me and then I still be okay with you. You're not going to disrespect my mother and I still be okay with you. You're not going to disrespect my sister and I still be okay with you. Now that's what his father does. That's one thing, but that's not the man that I'm raising.
Right.
And I know he sees that too. But, ego is a very big thing, But as a parent, my thing is, as a parent who sees this, who's witnessing this from the other parent, what am I to do? Because the narrative is that I'm jealous. I'm bitter.
For me, and this is just me personally, I can care less what the other narrative is. Because your sole goal is to protect your child at all costs.
Right.
And sometimes as a parent, protecting our children means doing something that's really, really difficult. And something we may not necessarily want to do, but we got to do what we got to do. And I'll personally give an example, because it's kind of similar. So my son, of course, is 14. My mom, again, she just raised me. She's kind of old school. And I'm raising children to be emotionally aware. Okay. So my son told me one time that, hey, I don't want to go to grandma's house because she's always yelling at me. She always makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. You know, I really am trying to do the right thing. I just don't want to go over there. And it was during a break. And because he came to me and told me that, I didn't share that with my mom, but I told him, I said, my goal is to protect your feelings first. And if you feel that way and you're not comfortable over there, I'm not going to make you go over there. I'm not going to make you do something that you're not comfortable doing because of how you feel. Your feelings are valid.
Exactly.
So, and even though that came from my child, you know, if it were me and if I seen something, you know, and kind of similar with like my dad was around, but he wasn't around. He's one of those. And he always, you know, y'all don't ever call me. And my thing is, you the parent, you the grandparent.
Oh,
the kids are not required to call you, you know? So, and one thing my mom never did was kept me away from my dad, but she allowed me to see the type of person he was and formulate my own relationship. And right now that relationship is, if I talk to him, I talk to him. If I don't, I don't. No harm, no foul. There's just, and that's to protect me and my feelings and my children, regardless of who it is. If it were their dads, doing the same thing. And again, kind of goes back to my story. I don't know if you had jumped off at the time, but my son was like 2 or 3, and he was dating someone who was being disrespectful. And I basically told him, do not contact me. Do not pick up my child from school, because at that point we have to contact each other until you get that situation under control. And it wasn't until he got the situation under control that he was then allowed to contact me. Plain and simple. So at the end of the day, you got to protect your children. And I, for one, being a child that was in a stepmother household that didn't always feel loved or didn't always feel an equal, I will never say put your child in a position to where they are potentially, hold on one second. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, I'm never gonna be the one to say ever allow your child to be subject to any type of abuse, because at the end of the day, you don't know what this person
and that's
is capable of. And I don't care if she does say you're jealous. If she wants to say you're jealous, yeah, I am. That's cool. You can say what you want to say. But my child's not coming near you, with you, none of that. Period. Yeah. No. And honestly, I can't say as a father, but dad nedes to check that. He needs to check.
I'm coming.
I need to check in on that, because
look.
Yeah, because his whole thing is like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't
know
doing all of this. If somebody says about my child, I'm not going to sit there and be like, okay, it's fine.
No, it's not fine.
It's not. So, now, if you want to sit there and allow that, and just to give a backstory as well, I don't know if it's a testament to him or her in one way or another. She's disrespected. She's already disrespected my son, obviously, my daughter. She's also disrespected his mother. She's also disrespected his daughter. So that's a him thing.
Yeah, that's a him thing.
That's a him thing. And him to not check it. And I'm being a person that's going to protect mine and protect my children. It's already a stretch for me even to name this person in the agreement, because I really don't think I should have to take it that far, because you should have already done something about that. You should have already made that a safe space where I wouldn't even have to address it. But since I did, then this is what it is.
Well, let it be what it's gonna be,
Right.
and you do what you
Right.
gotta do. Period.
Right. So speaking, so y'all know I laugh, I joke, I play. It's about 3 or 4 things that are non-negotiable for me.
Mhm.
One of them is my kids. Like, I remember years ago, I was sitting in a parking lot at that company I worked for in a car, and this dude had threatened. He said something about my ex-wife, and then he said something about my son.
Mhm.
I was on it was a moment for me, but I was on Facebook Live like, hey, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. All this motherfucking talking you doing. What's your address? You can
Mhm.
call the police. You can call the National Guard. They can meet me there. But you're going to have to see me because of what you said about my kid.
Mhm.
Fuck all that other shit. So as a parent, not even a parent, as a father,
Mhm.
for him to just, for him to not once, but twice, maybe 4 or 5 times, allow this woman to come into his space and constantly disrespect him, constantly disrespect his son, constantly disrespect his daughter, constantly disrespect his mama. He should have checked that shit way back when. And I don't like talking about folks, but that to me, that's some bitch ass nigga energy
That's
for
some
me.
sucker shit.
But
That's what it
It
is.
for me,
and I mean,
Like
like
for
that's just
real.
me.
to me, I mean, because I do know him, obviously, that his in just from history, and I'm not trying to talk about him. Like you said, ain't gonna be no bashing, but like I said, ego is a very that's one of the that drug is more harsher than fentanyl.
Mm.
It really is, and he
I don't I don't
no,
know no
because it's all
egos that
because
big
long
though.
as he
Like
gets what he wants,
No,
and that's
cause
why I said that as long as that ego is getting stroked, that's the type of person that he is,
I
and
got
that's
you. I
unfortunate.
understand.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate because I don't want my son to learn that is okay.
Yeah.
You know, like
man,
as
I
long as
don't.
I get what I want out of this person or this situation, she could disrespect you all day. That's what that's
No.
showing to our son. And I can guarantee
No.
you, if the shoe was on the other foot, if I was like, well, yeah, you can say whatever about our son, you can do whatever our son, long as you giving me, I can get it'll be a different situation. So it's hard for me as a parent to be like to set that kind of boundary because that's a boundary he should have set. But if I'm setting it, then it takes on a whole nother tone. And then it's met
Mm.
with that type of defensive that resistance because it's like now I'm messing with his good thing, his ego. Like, no, I am
Man,
protecting our child.
fuck that man. Like, no disrespect, but man, fuck that man ego. Like,
Exactly.
look,
I don't know,
And I
yeah,
get it.
but
I just wanted to be able to share my story. And
yeah,
I know, my response to it, my response to that has always been like, okay, never, you're not gonna be around my son, bitch. I don't give a fuck what you talking about. Now she's in people's inboxes trying to give them a heads up about me because apparently I'm the one trolling. Like, bitch, I don't even want anybody to know I know you, let alone troll you.
hey,
You know what I
I
mean? But that's a thing trying to say, oh, I got him now. Like, we know it's that's a whole nother, we need a whole nother
yeah,
episode on side chick mentality because that is
hey,
very real. But that's
let's
that
do it
whole
like this.
mentality. But no, at the end of the day, what was said and done towards my child. If my friend came on a post and confronted you woman to woman, that's one thing. But to take it to my child, that's another. Because we can go back and forth all day.
yeah, but all that, what she would have to say about me, I could care less about what
Right.
she's saying to other
Right.
people. I don't give a damn about. It's once you involve my children, it's a whole nother ball game. And I'm
Right.
with you. It's three things I don't play with. And I tell people all the time, my time, don't waste my time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't waste my money. Even though I can get it back. Now my time is something I can't get back. That's why that's number one.
Yeah.
Do not mess with my time. Don't mess with my money and don't play by my family. Like my family is off limits. And number one is and two is my kids and my mama. Don't
Mhm.
play with them. Now you couple of ones down the line, you might be able to slide once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
But them you can't slide not once.
Right.
Like
Right.
we not doing it.
I was just trying to see. I know I'm not wrong in making that part of the agreement. Or unfortunately, I had to because he didn't. But when you're involved or have been involved with a narcissist as long as I have, you do tend to think second guess yourself, even when you know that you're protecting your child, when you know that it's right. But when you're being told by a person, oh no, you just in your feelings, or you just want it, you trying to be controlling. It's like I am in that situation as a child.
It's too much stuff happening to kids every day by
Way too much.
the hands of people that's supposed to care about them.
Mm-hmm.
No, ma'am.
Right.
And just because you're with the person, that don't mean that they care for your children.
Hello.
I'm gonna look. You can clip this part. You can put it on your page, ma'am. From the very bottom of Big Hurt's heart. Fuck you and the horse you roll in on. You do that information what you want to do. You slide in my inbox, you comment on the post, but you ain't shit, and you need to get your ass whooped. I can't.
She do need her ass whooped.
You need one of them good old
Molly Wappins. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need a good ass whooping.
Send it to me because I'm sure about to put it on my radio page because I've been waiting to talk about this because everybody knows what I do, and it's like you're trying to come for me in that angle. But if I'm gonna do it, if I'm gonna really address it, I mean, let's address it. Like I'm not gonna just let me comment. Oh, you wrong for that, bitch. No, I mean. She done jumped up in so many people's inbox that I've had to defend myself against people like I literally do not know and she don't know either. That's how bad it is. Like, come on now.
Hurt's World is a safe space.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, mean what you say what you want to say. From the bottom of my heart, fuck you. DA, when you looking for a part to put at the beginning of the episode, make sure you clip that part and make sure you play it more than one time I say fuck you. We gonna go to break. Before I get canceled for real, but they still fuck that hoe. We'll be back in One Hurt's World. Welcome back to Hurt's World.
I had to let that be known.
Welcome back to Hurt's World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, Big Hurt. And if she says I'm not, that whole life. We were talking co-parenting. It's been a great episode, but now it's time for my favorite part of the show. And it's titled, it's a long title, and I'm not gonna shorten it. I was trying to think of ways to shorten it, but I can't. But it's songs you know you should not have been singing as a kid. This is slowly becoming my favorite part of the show.
That's so cool.
Like I always get stuff like, damn, I know that song and I shouldn't have known it. So this week, I got a personal favorite of mine. As I told y'all earlier in the show, I went home this weekend and on the radio I heard this particular song and it's a throwback. When you hear it, you already gonna know what it is. So I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is. But this is this week's song you know you should not have been singing as a kid.
Yeah. That's obvious.
Wow.
I was at least in high school though.
I was in college.
All right, before YouTube clips it, that is "What's Your Fantasy" by Shauna and Ludacris. You know you should not have been singing that song as a kid. What do you know about licking from your head to your toes? But that is my song that I know I should not have been singing as a kid. Yeah, I was on high. I think let's see. I may have been maybe in 8th grade, maybe freshman, 8th grade or freshman.
I think I was in high school when it came out. So
Yeah, I was in college.
Well, maybe high school, because yeah, I started in high school. So, but it still counts. So, what is one song that y'all can think of that y'all know for a fact y'all should not have been singing at a young age?
So I got two. Can I do two?
Okay, sure.
All right. So my first one is, I think I posted about this one before. And I know I was young than a mug singing this song. So y'all know this song, "Come On, Ride That Train." And ride it choo. It is not about a choo-choo train.
It's not.
It's not about riding a choo-choo train. And I had no idea until about 5 or 6 years ago. I was listening to the song and the actual words. You know how Apple started doing the lyrics?
Yeah.
And this one I was like, oh my God.
And then think about the ad libs in that song. I think I can. I think I can.
I'm thinking about the little engine that could. And the little engine definitely could. So
it did.
Yeah, obviously.
Wow. Okay.
Oh God.
So another one, I actually have a funny story about this one. I think I was like in the 5th or 6th grade when this song came out, and it wasn't until I got older that I realized what the words were. So of course this one is Genuine's Pony, and of course I used to say, "If you want it, let's do it," and I had no idea what the hell I was singing. And one day I was riding in the car singing a song. My auntie was like, "What you know about this song?" And I was like, "I don't know." And she was like, "Mm-hmm." But then of course when I got older, I realized he was saying, "If you're horny." So those were some songs I should not have been singing as a youngin.
Own it.
Hey.
Ride it, my pony.
I know.
And he was not talking about a unicorn.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So those are my songs I should not have been singing.
I'm older than y'all, so this little game we play by Subway and 702.
Oh, I remember that one.
And then if you hear the extended version, like she really goes in, and I'm like, okay, baby, don't stop if you think you can't. He's like, what?
And we was just a singing.
I mean, that was pretty overt. Regardless, it wasn't overt. Like even then, like people like, oh my God. So
I have another funny story.
And of course, I'm sorry. I mean, I come from a radio where I was like, "Call Me" by Too Short and Lil' Kim. Of course, y'all wasn't supposed to. Of course, just those two artists alone. But whatever.
Hello.
Yeah,
I got another funny one. This one my son will probably remember this one. He was probably in about the 3rd or 4th grade. And I probably shouldn't have been listening to this song while he was in the car anyway, but I was listening to H-Town Knocking Boots.
Nice.
And so he was like, "Mom, why would people bang their boots together?" And I was like, you know what? It's a long story.
I don't know why they would do that either.
I don't know why they would do that either.
That is so bad. Why? You're right. You're not supposed to destroy your shoes.
Why would people do that?
That is inappropriate. You're right.
I changed the song quickly after that because I was just like, yeah.
Oh no, I got a funny one. Oh my God. It was. I listened to it in the car with my daughter, who was like 5 at the time. "Signs of Love Making" by Tyrese.
Oh yeah.
And he said something about Aries, and I was like, "Fallon, see, you're an Aries." And she was like, she looked at me like, my granny said I was a soprano at church. I was like, shit. Well, excuse me. All right. You told me, baby. She looked at me like, don't, while you listening to this heathen music.
I'm a soprano.
She said my granny said I was a soprano. I mean, she gave me that look like don't do me ever. Don't put me in that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, man, those are songs you know you should have been singing as a kid. Drop yours in the comments. Last week was Silk If You. This week it was What's Your Fantasy by Shauna and Ludacris. If you have not heard the song in a while, go back and listen to it.
It's a good song.
It's a great song. It'll change your life.
You're right.
It could, and if nothing else, Ludacris nasty.
Very.
Do that information.
I mean, Shauna kind of was too, because we was thinking
Shauna
about getting
slid.
hit.
She slid on that.
And
she did.
She did
her thing.
She's a great rapper, though.
She is. She very much. But when you think about Ludacris can come out with the sexy on any voice. If you need that to be to go all the way, he's the voice you need.
Yeah.
Well said. All right, we're gonna take our last break, man. We'll be right back for more Hertz World. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Hertz World. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, to be Hurt. If she says I'm not, that was a liar. So we've been talking co-parenting. It has been a great episode. But now it's part of the show where I give these ladies an opportunity to kind of just big up themselves. So before we get up out of here, let the people know where they can find you if you want to be found. Anything you got coming up as far as like business, anything you want to promote, and a quote that you live by. So whoever wants to go first can go first.
All right. I am Shantae, radio personality. You can hear me. You can see me on Instagram at Shantae1. You can go on Facebook. Shantae. If you know me personally, then that means you should know my personal page, which I'm not gonna reveal right now. I'm just lying. It's Shani Jackson on Facebook. And I have my own show, The Lounge with Shantae, which will be premiering on JZ 94.5, hopefully very soon. And that's it. And I'm gonna hopefully be I'm gonna be just as transparent on there as I was here, because y'all are now family. And my quote is, don't be good, be good at it.
Period. I like it.
I like that.
Well, I'm Tramel. You can find me on Instagram at pretty_brown without the O _eyes, IZ, pretty brown eyes __. Let's see. Big ups to me because I will be graduating in December. Woo! And earning my human resources certification. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's been a hell of a ride and I'm tired. I launched a business about a couple years ago. I'm actually going to relaunch that business, but I decided to wait until I was completely done with school. So once school is done, I'm going to be relaunching Mia's Essentials. It was a body butter skincare line, so I'm going to get back into that once school is complete. There will also be new products because my baby has decided she wants to do lip glosses. So I'm going to get her involved in that. And then some way find out how to get my son involved. He wants to do t-shirts. So my kids they got somewhat of an entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate everybody. So that's really all I got going. Again, the Instagram is pretty_brown, no O _eyes, IZ. And thanks for having me on the show. Oh, and a quote that I live by is pretty much wake up every day grateful. Grateful for your current blessings, grateful for what you have now, and I promise you God will bless you with more than you ever imagined. So be grateful today and live in abundance tomorrow. And that's all I have.
Very, very well said. As y'all can see above my head, if you're watching this on YouTube, commercial spots start at $25. Get your professionally made commercial. It plays during all the breaks. Or if you want to sponsor the mini mix, that starts at $125. And and as you can see, we are expanding. It's now more than Georgia, Illinois, Tennessee, Cali. It's now Seattle, New York, and overseas. Because last time I checked, we were in India and South America, and I think Africa. So Hertz World is building and growing. Um, so stay tuned for more. But the commercial spots do start at $25. Um, just want to thank both my guests for coming on and being open and transparent, and just giving us their insight on co-parenting and the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because of the overwhelming response, there will be a part two. So stay tuned next week for that. I'm back from vacation, so y'all gonna get these episodes back to back to back to back like fire. I think that's all I got. But as always, if you don't work, you don't eat. You gotta crawl so you can walk, walk so you can run, and man, run before you can fly. I was gonna use the J. Cole quote as my quote for the day, but it kind of aged kind of badly. I don't want that Will and Jada love no more. Because them niggas are toxic. Do with that information what you want, but until the next time you see my face or hear my voice, I am the Big Hurt. I am your girlfriend's favorite podcast host, and I see y'all when I see y'all.
Peace.